Hi everyone, my name is Charlie, and today I thought that I would reflect on 9 years on Booktube. I thought that the official date I started Booktube back in 2015 was the 11th of August. However, this was not the case. I began Booktube back on the 7th of August 2015 with a classics tag. Was it the Victorian Classics tag or just the Classics tag? The reasons behind this were I'd wanted to start Booktube for a while. I had been watching it since about 2010 or 2011 when I came across a video by Ariel Bissett. Prior to that, I had only used YouTube to listen or to music or watch music videos. And I found Megan Tonjes with Request Tuesday of Lovesick by Emily Osment, if you must know, and began this whole thing of following YouTube musicians and going off and watching these vlog channels about people being body positive and that sort of thing. And after a few months, I can remember reading a book. I can't remember what the book was, but I needed to share my enthusiasm with other people. And I thought, well, if YouTube has singers, there must be somebody reviewing books, and came across Ariel Bissett. And from there, I ended up watching a lot of the original booktubers who were all talking about young adult literature and fantasy literature and the like. Considering that was what I was reading and continued to read for the next 4 years, I was really in the right place at the right time to be watching all of these creators. And I subscribed, but I never actually took the plunge and commented or liked. I kept on thinking that I wanted to join Booktube, but I also felt like I was too fat to Booktube, and I've talked about that before. I was incredibly overweight, and it was almost like I was dangling this carrot in front of myself. I know, carrots, funny, haha. That if I lost a certain amount of weight, then I could join Booktube. But then I ended up releasing Our Doris, and I've talked about this before. I released my book and thought if I had the confidence to do that and to go around touring this book all over the place, looking like I did, then I could start a YouTube channel. And that's what I did. But I was also keeping it incredibly low-key. I did not tell anybody that I was uploading videos, and I did not promote them anywhere. I did not comment on other people's channels like I say, but over time people found the channel. Those original videos are no longer online. The first 3 are gone. One of those is the classics tag, and that's because I redid that a few years later, having read more Victorian classics and feeling like I could talk about them in a better fashion. Then I did a review of Ready Player One, which was actually quite popular at the time because it was this rant review. But I didn't necessarily like the tone of the video after a few years, so I got rid of that. And also people would comment on it about 5 years after the fact. I thought, well, I'm over this now. I don't need to hear this anymore. Especially when I would get fans of the book or the film in the comments like, look, as I said to everybody, opinions are like arseholes, we don't have to share them. And then the other video that's no longer there was a review for a book by an author whose works I no longer wish to promote. So those first few videos are gone. I can remember actually the very first book haul on this channel is filled with books that I hadn't seen mentioned on YouTube before, and I think that was a real problem I had in the beginning, was trying to create content that was different, but like all I really wanted to do was create the same content that other people were doing. I wanted to talk about the book hauls and the wrap-ups and that sort of thing. I can still remember making a September TBR and joking in that TBR saying, if I lose my job, I'll probably be able to read all of these books, only to get a redundancy letter 2 weeks later, which was just sod's law, really. We all know how that worked out. I didn't end up getting made redundant. I got moved to a different part of the charity, a different one of their shops. Originally, I was going to stay 4 weeks and earn my redundancy money, and now I've been there for 9 years. And then my grandmother got diagnosed with cancer. I was struggling loads to figure out what to write because I'd had some success with Our Doris, and I was thinking people really want that book now, and I'm not writing that book, and I couldn't find the wherewithal to write. I was receiving 5-star reviews and people really cut me behind that book. I should have done more, I know that. we've been through this before, but I took a break from writing and I disappeared from YouTube. I gained more weight, and then I came back about 3 months later to do a rant review of Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Then eventually, over that year, I got through the period of unfathomable sadness. I started regularly posting to YouTube more. I'd stopped reading young adult literature. I started reading the Robin Hobb books, joining Sam's Nonsense for the Hob Along, which I actually took a lot longer than anybody else to read those books. Started in 2016, didn't finish till 2019, but let's not talk about that. Over time, people started finding the channel and being more supportive. And I can remember, I think I got about 100 subscribers in the first year, and thinking, well, if I gain 100 every year, then I'll be okay. And I was doing that for a few years, stagnating and what have you. So I suppose if we think about that, the subscriber count at the moment I should have hit till the 12-year point. So, you know, technically we're above average. I mean, for a channel that's been around for 9 years, most people would not be happy with the success that we've had. But quite honestly, for a grumpy northerner who has disappeared from this platform many times, the fact that people stick around until I come back is quite a funny thing indeed. I've done Victober, I've done Vlogmas, I have conversed with people who subsequently disappeared from the platform and seemingly disappeared from the world entirely. I say this because it's one of the... I think that's just the nature of the thing though, isn't it? It's one of those funny things, the people that actually stick around, and it's something weird that I've had to almost explain to people. Like, over the years, you will have seen me talk about many people, and I will have talked about them regularly at some point, even going so far as to call them the usual suspects, and then out of nowhere, those people disappear. And it's like, well, that's just the nature of the beast, really. You develop connections with people, but it's... a lot of the time, it feels very uncertain. You can't be sure that those people are going to stick around, and there can be a whole wealth of reasons why you just lose a connection with folk. And I think that that's something that I've learned from this platform in particular. I've also gone through this whole thing of my reading changing. So there was that. I was reading primarily young adult literature, and I think, was it 2017? 2017, I had a lot of overtime at work due to stuff that was going on. And I spent a lot of money on books that I didn't like just because they were popular at the time and they was what people were saying to read. And I hated that year because I knew every single book that was coming out that was literary fiction or people thought might be Booker nominated or had made it onto some sort of a list. And anything people were talking about on YouTube, I was like, yeah, I know this. And it was really frustrating to me. And that was the year, at the end of that year, that I decided to make this decision to not focus on lists so much and look at the authors that I had enjoyed in the past and try and read more of them. I can't say as I set that into action immediately, because primarily I think that I was still thinking about the fact that for a channel, people really want you to be looking at the books that are coming out now. But we have the Booktube Prize, and that helped me to read more modern authors. And I did that for a few years before eventually recognising that whilst I appreciate everything that everybody's doing for the Booktube Prize and to keep it ongoing, in terms of everything I had going on and that I wanted to achieve with my own reading, I couldn't necessarily do that this year. Also, there were bigger reasons why I stopped participating in the Booktube Prize last year. And as I say, those who need to know, know. The end of last year, and one of the reasons that a lot of videos didn't get made last year is because it was a really busy time anyway. I would get unexpected overtime, and on the days that I could record, I had to get loads of other stuff done. But then August last year, there were several different family tragedies that all happened at the same time, and that's why I disappeared, came back to do the Charlie and Charlie Christmas crackers. But in that time away, it gave me this thinking of what I wanted to do this year. And I like talking about books and goings on. Basically, I like to talk. I think we found that over the years. And so it became a thing of still making the same low effort, low quality videos, but just making them more regularly. And whereas I would probably talk about loads of different topics in a wool gathering video, separating them. We've seen some highs and some lows over this year. Since the beginning of this year, I've made a concerted effort to release 3 videos a week. And originally this was a review video, then something else, then a vlog. And now it's just something else, vlog, until there is a book that I want to talk about. That's also come about because I've not been reading as much in the last few months. I find it surprising that whenever I'm about to release a book, I seem to focus more on getting videos done. I wonder whether it's part of me that just likes to procrastinate, and creating videos helps me to avoid actually doing the writing that I'm supposed to be doing. But we also have learned not to psychoanalyze ourselves on this channel. I think as well, one thing that I've always talked about is being incredibly grateful to the people that actually choose to watch, like, and comment on my videos. Because I don't say it enough, because quite honestly, I am from the north, and to show any form of gratitude or any form of emotion is just not on, really. Quite frankly, I would prefer to be seen as the goblin living in a cave somewhere than actually admit to any human emotion. I do have that sense of appreciation towards everybody. Not everybody, just the people who watch me. If there are certain people that if you're watching them, my level of appreciation to you probably diminishes, but you don't need to know who they are. I can't say whether I expected to still be doing this after 9 years. I mean, I don't know that there isn't ever like limit on this. I think I've always taken myself away when it's felt like a chore or it's not felt enjoyable. One of the reasons Vlogmas videos stopped is because whilst I enjoy Christmas and I still think I'll put out videos throughout December, it was always a very busy month for me. And look at me, like there was like 2018 when I cracked my head open, I still made a video the next day. I was like, you have a really bad concussion, you have to stop this. I've always been quite a lackadaisical person when it comes to this channel. Over time, I recognised it wasn't the be all and end all, but if I was enjoying myself, that was fine. I also think that I became a lot calmer over those years. People say that I'm not a very calm individual. People also say that I've got a temper and I'm quite angry. But I always thought I was a very calm person. I think that's a story for another day. Anyway, I don't really know what I'm rambling about anymore, but I've done 9 years on Booktube. I've talked about books for all that time. There's folk here who weren't here at the start, who I am very thankful for. I created some friendships and relationships along the way. No, I haven't created any relationships. Let's scratch that right now. There was no extramarital Booktube nonsense going on in these parts. But you know, made some friends disappeared. What happens? One person was lying about their name the entire time, but I don't think we talk about that anymore. Anyway, for now, I'm off because I've got to walk the dog before it starts raining. So, thank you for 9 years on this platform. If you want to chat about anything I've done in the last 9 years, or if I've wronged you in any way, then you can talk about that in the comments. Alternatively, get in touch with Brenda in admin. But I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you've enjoyed the last 9 years, because until next time, that is all.